you might be able to find it on YouTube, but I saw Tony Iommi ended up on the stage with the Hollywood Vampires.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I watched it right before we came on. I just saw it pop up. And I was like, holy shit, Tony Iommi with the Hollywood Vampires. That is a legendary lineup right there.
Well, did you see the piece I did on the legend of the Hollywood Vampires and how it started and everything? Yeah. Like, I mean, you knew about all this. For me, like, I saw that documentary on the Rainbow Bar and Grill. I was like, oh wow, this is really cool. This is interesting. Folklore I was unaware of.
So yeah, Hollywood Vampires. I'm curious as to your take on Johnny Depp being in the Hollywood Vampires.
So here, let me see if I can find the clip real quick. But my take would be this: the original Hollywood Vampires, one of the big members was Mickey Dolenz.
Yeah.
From the Monkees. So maybe that's Johnny's role. Maybe he's the Mickey Dolenz of the group.
You know, so here's my take, and I never really thought about it, and I thought it was cool. I thought, wow, Johnny Depp's got some depth. You know what I mean? He's like, he can get on stage and jam, which makes sense because he's an actor and that kind of stuff. And he's up there. He sang a couple of on the Hollywood Vampires album. He sung a David Bowie song, and which was cool. And then I started talking to my good friend Mike Howe from Metal Church. And I was asking him about it. He's like, dude, that's such poser bullshit. Such poser bullshit. It's like the dude has not gone through anything to earn his stripes to be up on the stage with Alice Cooper and Joe Perry.
Yeah.
And he's like, he says, I can't stand it. I'm like, I never thought of it that way. Dude just stepped into it. You know what I mean?
And a guy like Mike was slugging it out in the clubs like that.
Exactly.
I mean, Metal Church is like OG thrash. Like,
exactly.
I think Dave Mustaine, you know who mentioned them was Ken Mary yesterday.
Or did he?
When we talked to Ken Mary from Fifth Angel, he was talking because he's from Seattle. Like Fifth Angel's like they were talking about Queensryche, obviously, a big set. But he straight up, he's like Metal Church. He said was in our like group of like bands because I know Mike was from Northern Cal, but was the rest of the band from up there?
The rest of the band itself was formed in Seattle.
Yeah.
So it was just it was funny to me because I was like, I never really thought of it that way.
Yeah.
And you know, for somebody that worked their ass off to get where they got, you know, Mike had a very good point saying, you know, Johnny Depp just kind of stepped right into that. Just because he was Johnny Depp, you know what I mean?
Well, it's the same thing with Mickey Dolenz, right? Like Mickey Dolenz wasn't a musician. He played a musician on TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and no disrespect. I mean, but I guess it is what it is. I mean, someone like Johnny Depp, I'm sure he paid dues in his own way, right?
Yeah.
Like he became a famous actor. Like that's not easy to do.
No.
And you could argue that, like, he got famous because he was a decent looking dude and like you know, had the look and got into with the right crowd and whatever. But hey, whatever. Like I ain't gonna hate. I mean, if he can actually play, I do remember this as to kind of like take Mike's side a little bit. There was a whole thing during the Johnny Depp trial, which I did not watch. I just kind of like heard peripheral news about, but it was Amber Heard was talking about how he would hang out with like all these famous guitar players like Jeff Beck and like and she's like, I'm bored, like you know, and I was just like, oh, that's so millennial of her. But no
Jeff
offense
Beck
to millennials, but
Joe Perry from fucking Aerosmith and this is
yeah.
I don't need to go listen to this Tim T Swift. Do you mind if I go?
Yeah, she's not listening to anything. She's not listening to shit. She like wants to go like fucking, you know, have brunch somewhere or something. Who knows? But yeah, it's, I don't know. All that stuff is not. It was funny because I did a thing about James Hetfield the other day, and Mark Maron. Do you know who Mark Maron is?
Yeah.
He started posting his podcasts on YouTube, and so he posted this James Hetfield interview, which I kind of, it was from 2017, so it's not new, But James Hetfield, just to link this all together, was talking about meeting Steven Tyler for the first time. Like Aerosmith was like one of his big influences. And he's like, oh, Steven Tyler. Like he revered James Hetfield of Metallica, revered these bands, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And then people. Now you got people that would just give it their right nut to meet James Hetfield.
Oh, yeah.
So it's and then the other cool part about it was, or the interesting part was hearing Alice Cooper sing Paranoid.
Here I have the clip.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Let's watch it. July 11th. Joe Perry, fucking the Keith Richards of his generation.
Yeah. Johnny's in like full fucking Jack Sparrow cosplay. Yeah, he is.
I was just thinking how, you know, like that seems to me, just watching that clip, it's just a fun thing for them, I'm sure. That's how Johnny Depp got into it. They all party together at the fucking Rainbow or the Viper Room.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I want to be in your band. Like, all right, you're Johnny Depp. Why not? Like,